Hey, what's up, Village fams? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Village HI Podcast, a community for inspiration, elevation, and empowerment. I'm your host, Rocky Savaina. We are coming to you guys live in widescreen, HK, 4K, high definition, all of that. I got the boys from Early Out. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
My name is Tavo Tupola, class of 99, Kahuku High School.
My name is Isi Hikila, class of 2014, Kahuku High School.
Oh,
Sorry.
Looking kind of young, sir.
1997. The numbers get mixed up, guys. You get old.
Fellas, we are missing some of the guys from your guys' crew. You know, when you guys want to shout the rest of you guys' members out?
Yes. Go ahead.
So, Warner Pukahi, and we're missing Warner Pukahi and Senga Nunga.
Yeah.
So,
Shout out to the boys that couldn't make it with us today. But yeah, man, you guys are tuning in like, man, Early Outs, what is that? Like for me, I'm grateful that the village can, it's about being able to highlight, use this platform to highlight different villages, communities, and what they're doing for their communities. You know what I mean? So Early Outs came to mind. I know you guys fellas outside. So, guys, what is Early Outs?
Great question. You want
go
me to
ahead,
answer that?
go ahead, producer.
Titles. Oh, we got titles too?
No. He tends to make them up as we go. So the Early Outs was basically it's supposed to be a spin-off of one of the Kahuku has a show. It's called Code Red Show.
Shout out Code Red.
It's a team I was part of, putting together. It's going on 10 years, but I was going through the community and getting a lot of questions about, hey, you guys they're not talking too much about football. And I was like, it is, but it is, you're right, because it's the community. That show's a community show, kind of like your show, but your show's like on a bigger scale. It's just about the Kahuku community. And so I was like, you know what? Let me put some guys together. So I assembled a team. Kind of sound like Nick Fury. I don't look like him.
Oh, Avengers. You got the Avengers coming together.
But
You
so
look more like a Vince McMahon to me, but go ahead.
No, Iron Man. We'll take Iron Man. for now.
Okay.
So I assembled the team, and I was like, you know what, this is it. But I knew the one caveat that I wanted was we're gonna be raw. I even put on our logo as like explicit lyrics only, meaning we're gonna swear. We're gonna get into stuff.
Keep it real.
Yeah, we're just gonna be
real.
transparent with the crowd, and that was basically where it started. So I talked to me and Vo started working on stuff before, but we're just trying to have conversations. Remember earlier last year, right? The digital archives came out.
Yeah.
With all the old games.
All the old games from
Yeah.
the
And
stadium,
then we had
right?
some of the boys coming to us and like, Sola, watch this game. And then I was just like, it just clicked, and I was like, oh man, we should do something. I mean, imagine the pot. So, would you listen to this? We, bunch of old athletes. We call them all in. Like like us three right there. We played for our teams. Play the IA Kahuku game, and it's, we go in and we commentate, because the color commentary is not the best on those videos. So I was like, and then everybody was like, "Bro, that'll be me." So we kind of started with that, and then taking the Code Red idea thing and spinning it off. But yeah, that's where it started from. Like, so the team together was us four, and there was a fifth, but he was very busy with his own channel. So
yeah. So Tops, what interested you about this? Obviously you got the call, hey, let's make this happen. But what really interested you to be like, man, I got to be a part of this?
I don't. Just something about just talking about football. Just interested me. And we've like Isi said, he's mentioned. I mean, he went through it pretty quick, but we've done something like this a lot of times, either before the mix or after the mix. Just put mics, put up the camera, and we just start going off. And we just noticed how much of a chemistry we had.
Yeah.
Just going back and forth, the banter, the arguing, and the content that we would. And Isi would go back and re-listen to it, and some of it was just gold. Like it was catching, and we would play it for some of the other guys at the mix, and they're just cracking up.
yeah.
So that kind of drove like my interest into just creating the narrative, not the narrative, but conversations, creating conversations so that when it goes to other mixes, they're talking about this.
Yeah.
The way that we talk, and of course it comes from a place of knowledge. It comes from a place of experience. So that's what kind of piqued my interest in this.
Now, right on. Talking about we all played for our teams, right? We all played football. The sport football brings us together. But Manti said it perfect, man. Like, he's commentating now for his, for the network, right? On a big scale, right? So shout out to Manti, especially, representing for us Polynesian people. But being able to talk, at the mix and kind of reminisce of the days, back in the days when we played, or your highlights or whatever, it keeps you close to the sport. Even though we're not actually playing, like you're still connected in a sense where like I still feel involved, right?
Absolutely.
So I mean that's dope because I mean especially at the mixes, right? I mean the conversations is wild, but it's truthful, right?
But it's always the number one topic, like especially the mixes we're at back home. It's Kahuku football is always the top topic, and it's what you know, who you know, what you're, and a lot of it is us just we end up quarterbacking it Monday morning, quarterbacking it, but then
what is the term quarterbacking it for people that's watching? Like, well, what is that quarterbacking it?
Oh, that's like, I wish I would have called this play on. It should have been 5D linemen instead of 4.
Okay, so perfect. Okay, right there, quarterbacking. Okay, so term quarterbacking, right? For me, right? In this society that we live in today, you have sports, right? And you have social media. And it's a great tool because people that can't be at the game can watch the game, can be involved, can put a highlight, teaching tape, whatever. But now you add this other part of comments. And man, Kahuku football and its comments is crazy. You
It's
think like
brutal.
You better go church and go repent for some of the comments, you know what I mean? But I highlighted you guys too as early outs because, not just Kahuku football, but there's so many other people that, their teams, they're passionate about their teams, but I don't really see anybody doing something like this. Yeah. So for me, I was like, man, I got to get you guys on, and that's where we're at. But talk about that, the quarterbacking part, because, man, I was fortunate to, coach at Kahuku and have my son play there. My kids are coming up. But, man, like, it's ruthless.
It is.
And, like, how did you guys take that part of, now we're going to address some of these comments, right?
So the comments, I think that's the main thing about the 4 guys that I chose. I said, thick skin, right? We all have to have thick skin, especially the guy who coined the name early out. So he took it from, the part where everybody comes out to, warm up the specialists.
So as far as comments, so when this started, I was fortunately not aware of what the comments were from the beginning because I was still in Hawaiian.
Yeah.
But as we talked, as it kept going and the comments kept coming, whether it was negative or positive, they're still talking about us. That was our mentality.
Yeah.
And that even the ones that you don't see on social media, they're I feel like the worst ones.
Yeah.
That talk the most. But the fact that they're talking about us is creating content in whatever circles that they're at.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're the subject of whatever we said on the show. Yes.
Yeah.
And for that brought me like, that kind of turned me on a little bit. You know what I mean?
Also, sir.
Whether
turn it on. Sorry.
whether it's good or bad, you're still talking about
exactly.
it.
Like they say, man, haters is some of the best inspiration, right? Because they keep bringing you up.
Right.
Negative or good, you're still bringing up the topic of conversation.
And the fact that we're still their conversations. No, which I think it drove us some more to keep creating or bringing guests on or just finding ways to stay validated.
Yeah,
very true.
So,
no, that's exactly it. It was, and again, it's also the guys that I brought on. Like each of them is thick skin to the point where they feed off of it or they're not affected by it.
So. One thing that I want to, put out there too is, right, when people hear Laie, Kahuku, or Kahuku in general, right, they're thinking like, oh, everybody go to church. You guys are supposed to be saints. And then you guys have this platform where you're like, no, we're going to be explicit. We're going to keep it real. Yeah. We are going to swear. Yeah. Has that ever kind of like hindered maybe people's outlook on you guys or representation of the community?
Definitely one person it affected. One of our co-hosts it affected very like dramatically. But because we were swearing on the same show, but they only heard him swear because of the way he swore.
Yeah.
Which is like, he was just really emphatic about letting people,
He's passionate about it.
Yeah, and I was like, so when the complaints came to me, there was like, hey, kick him off the show. And I was like, no, I'm not. And there was a little bit of static, so I had to tell him, I'm not kicking you off the show. Like, you helped us build this up. Those guys, there's going to be tons more people who are going to say that. They're going to say that about me. They say it about maybe Tavo, maybe about Senga. But, for Warner, I told him, you're part of this show unless you want to leave the show. And then he said, okay. But, yeah, people get in their feels for all those reasons. It did affect, how did it affect us? You said?
Because people just have this outlook that, this North Shore community is supposed to be perfect. And because of the church, right? Because
so there was a lot of good stuff that actually came up. Because people were like, man, I like these guys. These guys talk for real. They don't talk.
Because it's relevant, right?
Yeah.
the boys that I see outside or
Yeah.
a part of the mix and the conversation that we had, like I can relate to that.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
The stuff we see on the news or certain things, like it's so, it's filtered.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
And
has to
you
be,
can just be truthful in what we're talking about, right?
Well, to you listeners out there, there's levels to swearing, right? There's levels to this. Now, if we're just downgrading a kid and just swear, that's bad, right?
Yeah.
If you're swearing anything about, and we try to stay away from that. But if we're just swearing like just out of frustration, like, man, what a effing horrible call that was, or whatever. There's, we're not being derogatory to any person specifically.
Yeah.
And I guess it goes the same way with coaching, right?
Yeah.
When you're coaching, you don't swear to degrade the kid. The swearing is just to give a sense of urgency.
It's like that exclamation mark, right?
Yes.
That exclamation mark
Yeah.
at the end of a sentence, right? And putting some emphasis on this.
Yes.
Right?
And so I loved it when coaches swore at me. That means, hey, whatever I'm doing was very, very wrong. I need to fix it immediately.
Yep.
And so I kind of respect when if I having a conversation, especially with football, and people are swearing, that means they know their stuff.
Yeah, well, let's elaborate on that, right? Because nowadays it's like you hear a coach swear, and I do believe you put it perfectly on the spot, is there's levels, right?
Yep.
There's you can swear, and there's difference of downgrading a kid, which there are coaches like that.
Yeah.
So, East, what is your take on that? When you see coaches like that, where coaches are just passionate and it just comes out, and then when there's degrading and you're a waste of whatever, you effing whatever.
I know I reacted to I think it was OIA's rule when they came up with that. You were probably coaching at the time. Did they have that rule where you couldn't swear at the kids? Or was that always part of it? I know. I coached under Sola under DJ at Kaimuki. And I remember he pulled us to the side. I was like, only me and Sola in the meeting. So I don't know if he was just specifically talking to us. And I was like, I don't swear, but I think... Anyways, so they brought that up, and I was like, sitting there, I was like, oh, okay, so we're going to try to be positive with the kids. Mm-hmm. What is my feeling towards it? I feel like there's a certain... I don't want to use big words for it. Get labeled as a big word guy. There's a certain je ne sais quoi. No, it's not. It's Japanese. No. There's a certain like.
I think I'm gonna take my paper out and take notes on these.
Anybody who So anybody who uses it properly, like the way Tavo explained it, I feel like that's it. I'm fine with that. If they swore at my kid, but it's because they're emphasizing you needed to fix this about whatever it is, and that sticks. I'm fine with that. Like that. Hey, not changing the rule with the OA. I mean, the OA is the OA, whatever. Or if that's a state. But yeah, that's my take on the swearing thing. So that's why I felt like we should have it on the show. I feel like, man, like if I want my guys to speak the truth and speak about football, I want them to be able to talk locker room talk.
Yeah.
Like, you effer this. Wow, you never gave it that block. If I had that block, I would have made the touchdown or something along those lines.
Yeah,
it's not for everybody, and if you're going for coaching, like it's swearing is not for every kid. So you gotta monitor
know your players.
Know your players. As far as to answer your question, as far as to our community, I guess throughout the season, you're starting to hear. We got to hear from a lot of church people they watch our show.
Oh yeah,
How was that?
Oh,
it was nice.
It was nice. Surprising, but nice. But then it's, and I think it's more because as the season progressed and as we watched film, like we brought on these guests. The community loved the content that we're pushing out. At the end of the day,
As you guys, continue to track, like, what was one thing early on that maybe you guys had to focus on? Like, this is maybe our pillars of what this early outs show is, and really stick to that, because I'm sure all these outside influences start coming in, right? Like the reaction of maybe the community, some church members, players, parents, coaches, right? Yeah. Because you guys talk about it all. So how did you guys stay focused on, like, we got to stick to our core values as we build this?
I know one thing that I kept in. So this is from Code Red. When I left Code Red, when I moved from Code Red over to Early Outs, one thing that I always preached was we never attack the kids. No matter, even if they had a poor performance, we want to dissect the game as far as coaches go, as far as scheme goes, even to the point where we attacked the crowd. I was like, that's when we came back from Washington State. We went to go visit Coach Mark Atuaya. On our way back, we lost homecoming. First thing I did was, I know who I'm going to attack, and they were like, who? I was like, I'm attacking the crowd. The crowd was. Nobody was cheering. It was like
So when you attack the crowd like that, because that's because Kahuku is known for its support, right? So
it's known for its support.
So what kind of specific things did you attack? Like,
I attacked the fact that as the cameras panned over during crucial moments where I know us as players during the game, we know this is when we need this is when our defense needs the support. Third down, we about to lock them down, but nobody's cheering. I mean, you could barely hear cheering.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made it a point on our show. I was like, you know what? When we go back, that's the first thing I'm going to approach. So I attacked the crowd, but I didn't know Tavo was going to turn that, like, double down on that. And Tavo just started going, like, we're going to go do jumping jacks in front of everybody. I'm gonna do it. And then he turned that from jumping jacks into push-ups,
I just want to be as strong as that rail. You know what I mean?
The UH rail.
The home team. Hey, I want to ask you guys this, because I don't know if it's a clear thing, but they took away playing the Tomahawk.
Tomahawk,
right?
Yeah.
How was that? Because people think it's Florida State. For anybody local, that's a Kahuku football thing. Yeah. So how do you guys feel about that? I mean, and why did they take it out? Because I really don't know what is the actual reason why they took it out.
Well, am I honest?
Please,
trash.
Honest. We want honest.
It's absolutely trash.
Yes.
Come on.
It's trash.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm a Florida State fan, by the way.
Hey, there's kids in Hawaii that don't even know Florida State.
Yeah.
But they know Kahuku football.
They know Kahuku's
and you know the chop. And people that just come to the game want to be a part of the chop.
Oh, yeah.
And now, like, you got to have the boys outside the fence in the back or bring a speaker to play it to get it done. But why did they take it out?
I was away from the community.
It has to do with that thing with like when the Redskins changed to the Commanders. It was that whole movement. And I know there was a kid who he pushed that movement and ended up affecting the state. And the state, I guess, from what I understand, so if you notice, we changed our logo back to the K. It's the big K.
Instead of the Indian.
Yeah, instead of Indian. Or sorry, the Savage or whatever it was called. The Native. And then they even went...
Jake the Musk.
Yeah, so they even they even commissioned a local artist to change it. So that's why it changed over to the current Red Raider that we have. And then they still said, no, for their reasons, the state's reasons, they said no. So I guess pressure was being put on the school. This is the story that I've heard from the back end. So pressure was put on the school, and the school ended up pulling the name and pulling and requesting that the tomahawk not be played. But from what I understand, they do that in the gym. Oh no, they play the tom.
Yeah, so how come you can do it in the gym and you can't do it on the football field?
Man, it's upside down to me.
Yeah. I mean, that was always been a highlight, right? You come to any Kahuku game, you just a part of that. Like, that's, I mean, you don't even have to speak a word and tell someone. They just know what to do, right? So, yeah, man.
Maybe we're just winning too much, you know what I mean? They're trying to silence us.
No, but I actually had a friend. He was my old boss. He was a St. Louis Crusader. And he said he used to bring his friends. He said, you want to experience a game? Go watch a Kahuku. This is when stadium was still up.
For sure.
He said, you go watch a Kahuku game. And they said, man, this is like watching a college game. Just being around that big of a crowd. Cheering, so I was just like, wait, you took him to a Kahuku game, not a St. Louis game? It's like that, that's what you guys are good for. But he was joking around trying to make trouble, but at the same time, he really did take him. I was like,
one thing I missed though is when the OGs, like the parents or the grandparents could come with their umbrellas and they used to open up the umbrella, the red and white and twirl it. That was some memories, man, growing up when I was younger. Watching that, man, that was pretty awesome. So what is some resistance, as you guys are coming along? Like, maybe if you guys can name an episode or a show that you guys did where you're like, oh, I think we got something here, guys. Like, I think we got something. And when you came to that realization of having something, as you really start working toward it, maybe some resistance of, like, balancing things, like, to make this happen, right?
Yeah, I get something. You
Go ahead.
No, so, like, as far as, like, for me, it was progression, like, throughout the whole... Like first 10 episodes, it was like, we were just doing it just because like, no, just push, boys, just push. Don't care if only 2 people watch.
Yeah.
If 10 people watch. But then there was a point where we would get feedback from the community. It was like, man, so I like you guys showing. Just a quick fist bump and that's it. And
they made your day,
man. OGs in
the
community, and it was like, standing in Foodland and then just turn around and go, "Brah, you guys funny." Fist bump, and I was like, "Hey, I don't even know you."
We're making it, guys. We're making it.
Yeah. So again, with small waves, that's how I felt for me. That was worth pushing it the next week, and saying, hey, just push, we'll just do whatever. Like do something that's at least entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as resistance, we'll get that after. Sure.
I don't know if there was. I didn't feel there was any resistance, like anything. It's just sometimes. So when we would film, or it would be the element, it would be outside.
Oh.
So that was kind of tough.
I know one time you guys did it at BYU Hawaii, right in the rugby field or something, right at the backdrop. You guys had.
Yeah, we've been in a bunch of fields.
Yeah.
Oh no, that one was the first one. I think that was at the KVA, the top.
Oh,
looked like,
so maybe,
looked
yeah.
like BYU. If that's the one,
But yeah, there's some ones where like we had Coach Mark Atuaya on one, but we filmed at Hauula Beach Park.
How was that? How do you guys set up when you guys go?
But
You just take a camera, just pop it up,
you
and
kind of like this, but with cheaper equipment.
hey, however we can make it do. You know what I mean? So how was that Hauula Beach Park one?
But it was the night before some hurricane that was coming, and so the winds was kind of too nuts.
Yeah.
We didn't anticipate that. But it was a great episode, but it was just tough to hear for the viewers to hear. So
we were right in the middle of the breeze.
Yeah.
So even that noise canceling,
yeah.
I was like, noise canceling can't even stand against this thing right now.
And then I feel like when we kind of knew what we got, I mean, I can't pinpoint one specific episode where we knew what we had, but it's when the two transfers came to Kahuku. And then we started talking, and then we made like an immediate episode, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's with the Bosco quarterback transferring, right?
And lineman.
And
and the lineman. That was a hot topic. Like it was almost like as soon as they landed on island, the next day we shot an episode, and that was one of our higher viewerships.
That was one of the highest ones. That one was just like on the spot, just get something down, because we were actually planning to plan for it. So we met up to plan, and then the energy in the room was just like, wow, run them. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is the community just wanted answers.
Yeah.
What is some, let's really dive into like some of the details, right? So people are watching, they're like, yeah, I get it, you guys are talking about topics, but what is some of the questions or top questions that you're asking, you're trying to get to people? Like, what are some of the questions that you guys actually had to answer during that interview with the two transfers coming in?
One of the big ones was, were they recruited here?
Yeah.
And then some of the details ones were like, oh, do they need to have to sit out a 14-day rest period?
Yeah. Acclimation.
Yeah.
Thing, right?
Yeah, I think the whole state got in that. I think Rob DeMello was posting, specific OIA files or whatever, and I was like, oh, there's actual like paperwork that you got to go through. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Those issues, and the community just wanted answers, and we were fortunate enough that we did kind of like our research and was able to push out almost like day of or day after immediate response to the community, and they responded and they tuned in. And mind you, we were doing our banters and whatnot, and but yeah, we were able to address those issues real quick and almost like at a Kahuku press conference type of deal. I wish we could have that.
No, that wouldn't go down well. Kahuku kids get a hard time talking after the game.
Hey, how much? But I touched on this on another previous, show. But being able to communicate, right? You're two gentlemen that can communicate well, can express yourselves. But that's true, though. A lot of these athletes have a great platform just because of their athletic ability.
Yeah.
But now it's like you get them behind a camera, and it's one-word answers. It's very short.
Yeah.
I mean, look at you guys. You guys are behind a mic right now, having your own show and doing your own thing. But imagine a kid that can bring that other portion, right? Being able to, communicate, express himself. How much do you guys think or want to express to kids out there that's just watching, see the show? Like, man, like learn to talk.
Oh, I think it's an asset. I think if they can, they can market themselves better. As far as like even, especially with the portal, right? The transfer portal, like, wherever you go in life and whatever it is you're doing, I feel like you can be a better salesman of yourself. It's like, and that's one thing that especially Polynesian kids, local kids, they don't realize that you have to do, regardless, like even if you're going for a job, you gotta like you have to sell yourself basically. Like, hey, this is what I do, this is how good I am at it. Your video can tell so much, but if they have somebody who can elaborate on what they just did on the field, oh man, then, as a coach, right?
Yeah.
You remember that any kid who knows his assignment, but also can teach that assignment to another kid, that helps you out with your job. But I feel like as far as that's one asset I see is being able to just pitch and represent yourself in different spaces. So,
Oh, great.
So, especially for our kids and for poly kids in general, they're not taught to use their voice often. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because when we're raised, it's like don't answer back,
right.
don't say a word. It's just shake your head. Yes, yeah,
when you're
exactly.
Whatever dad's word was, that was God or whatever. For example, when I went and played at University of Utah, I made a move, and I still got yelled at. I got yelled at for it, but it was the correct play or correct step or correct technique, and I got yelled at for it
From a coach?
from a coach. It wasn't until we went back and watched footage that he saw, so, oh, you did do it correctly. And I'll go, oh, yeah, coach, I did. So how come you didn't say nothing? So I wasn't taught to talk back to you.
Yeah.
So for the young viewers out there, and to answer Rock's question is, use your voice. You have a voice, use it. Use it in a positive way. So when you get out of this community, you're gonna need that voice to stick up for yourself, or to stand up for yourself, or to be a voice or a beacon, so to speak, so that people can look to and because they're naturally born leaders out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anything within football, they have a voice. With anything without it, they kind of struggle. So if they can learn those skills at an earlier age, to be a voice, to articulate yourself, will bode well for the young kids moving forward.
No, for sure. No, that's awesome. I'm glad you touched upon that, because it's true. Like for me, that's how we were all raised, right?
Yeah.
So even my kids early on, like that, and I still have a part, adjusting. But their mom is, she's not Samoan, she's not Polynesian.
Yeah.
So it's like she brought the say what you want to say, express yourself. I'm like, you know what I mean? But
it's a clash.
It's a clash. But as the kids got older, and a lot of times as we got older and we evolved and seen things from a different lens, right? It's true. You know what I mean? Because our kids should, I put it like this. We go to mainland tournaments, right? And you see maybe the Maolis or the mainland guys, and they're talking, and they're selling themselves. Like, I am the best. And for somebody that comes from the islands or from our upbringing, wow, this guy cocky.
Yeah.
This guy should shut his mouth and be humble. Yet, who is everybody flocking to? Right? The guy that's just talking until he gets freaking put on the spot on the field and he gets smashed. But just those things are true. It's like, man, we kind of like shelter ourselves from the things that we can get, right?
Yep.
So, going back to some resistance with the show, like, it was certain things that you guys had to balance out to make the show happen that you guys struggle with? Family, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
So I know we kind of talked about this in our last show, end of the year show. We just went over each of us faced some kind of struggle and some kind of learning moments that we had, and it was also to the point where each of us still had the show.
Yeah.
And the fact that say I know Tavo's going to do something, and he still shows up to the show means like, man, he's feeding off of it, and so I know, okay, and same with me. They don't know if I'm going through some kind of struggle, and I'm like, I show up to the show, I'm setting up, let's go, come on, put it up. It's better to just be consistent than to just, so I know that was one form of resistance, which is life. Life was just resistant. Our other two hosts, so I was allowed to share this, and it's not a HIPAA violation in anybody listening. So one of the other guys, the elder statesman, I call him, of our group, the older one, he had a 7 graft bypass
for his heart,
his heart, and I was like, holy crap! But so he did the first 2 shows. The views are mounting up, and then he just disappears from, like, doesn't answer text, doesn't answer our messaging. So I was like, where this guy went? So, hey, we still hold the show. Then find out later that he saying I had surgery, and I was like, oh, they didn't tell us. They just said Senga went to the hospital.
Yeah.
So we were like, shoot, keep going. But only recently he told us, he was like, man, if it wasn't for you guys, continuing doing it, man, I'm glad you guys did, because it kind of pushed me to kind of get better faster to be back on. And I was like, man, that's crazy. I know Tavo, he's had his journey himself.
So when EC brought this idea to me, I was hesitant, almost like I didn't want to do it. I was going through a divorce, so to balance that out, and to put myself out there at that time, I didn't want to. But he kept pushing me, so I missed the first episode. And the second episode, he was like, "Dude, just come on." So right when I went on, it was very therapeutic for me. To talk about football, talk about Kahuku, and to talk about the community that I love, that gave me so much. That was very, very, very therapeutic for me, and that's what kept me coming back. So I think there was a point where, Andrew and I decided to put out a statement that we were getting divorced, and the amount of love that I got, and text messages and phone calls. Even I think it was right before I was like, "Hey, East, is it okay if I address the elephant in the room?" And so I was able to address it and let the community know, "Hey, me, my kids were fine, and Andrea, we're fine. Everything's on the up and up, and we're okay. We're just managing and moving forward as best as we can with this." And then with that, right then and there, with that said, here are the two transfers that's coming in.
No, you guys touched on something. So for you guys watching, right, when I come and I highlight different communities or villages, this is a prime example, is because I went through a divorce, right? So I went through a divorce. So I understand how that isolation part feels. I understand the heaviness, right? But if it's an early out show, if it's a cooking show, you're a chef, if it's you being a coach, a teacher, somebody that's in the community and you're building something, you give hope for people to come to. You normalize just being able to just enjoy normal conversations, right? So this is why I enjoy this platform, is because we can highlight, hey, the early outs may not be for some people. Just like this podcast is not for some, but it's for someone. Right? Just like how this was therapeutic and comforting for you in a tough time. So if you guys are out there building something and you feel like, you know what, maybe a lot of people is not supporting it, people may not like it. If there's a passion for it and you believe that you are connecting with at least one person, communities are built by brick, right? By time. So don't ever feel or lose hope that, what I'm doing is not good enough, because I've seen these guys go from, like you said, from a couple of viewers to being stopped in the grocery store and people, just random people. Is because, at some point, the attention will come. And if you're doing it for the right reasons and you have, a solid platform, the support comes, but you bring comfort to people that are looking for it. So I'm so glad that you guys touch upon that, because it's true, man. Like, you guys do bring comfort. You guys bring a lot of laughs, right? You guys have some pretty good guests on your guys' show. What is maybe some of the top guests that you guys had? For whatever reason, could be a coach.
Oh, I know one is the big one is Tata. We had Coach Tata on there. Main reason I think it was because there's a lot of unresolved stuff that happened at Kahuku. I mean,
he got dropped. He got dropped as a coach, and he made it to the state championship game twice. And he wanted the year before, right?
Yeah. So that was huge for, like, in my mind, like, it was. So that was Senga's connect. Senga's connected to so many different people, and so he was just like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Because we were doing like we pitched it to ourselves and say, "Hey, we're gonna do every day of the week, we're going to post in some form or fashion. Maybe be just a reel, might be just some, And then he said, Sola, I can get, because we just eliminated them from the playoffs, the week prior.
Yeah.
So he said, I think I can get Vi. I'm going to call Vi. I was like, so if you cannot, we'll figure something else out. Sure enough, Sola, he's ready to go today. At this time, I was like, sadly, I had to, I told the boys, I said, hey, because this is Singers Connect, I just wanted, just intimate. Him and Senga, but Senga asked me to jump on to kind of mediate. So I was like, okay. But I pulled these guys up in the group and said, hey, questions. I need questions. Send me questions, and I had to kind of sift through a lot of them. But Tata's interview was crazy, because a lot of them were still the attitude people had prior to him leaving.
Well, I mean, for me, one thing that really stood out about, man, like, because you see, I don't know Vi personally, right? So I just know of him through the coaching or player wise. But man, when you see him on TV, he's one animated dude. Like he's about his business. But what came across in his interview, because I don't think I've ever heard him on an interview where he got to open up. Like this dude was light, you know what I mean? And he can like articulate himself so well. Like I've just watching you guys' episode with him, man, I felt like inspired. Like like you know what I mean, as a Polynesian, like that's it right there. Like he's that type of guy, But for people that didn't get to tune into the stuff, he kind of talked about his release from Kahuku.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you think the school let him go? Like, I mean, because he got kind of cut short.
It did.
And for, I think I was with some of the boys. Yeah, I was with some of the boys. And they're like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Like, why you went to 2 straight state championship games. He's doing well. He was bringing people together in community to support the team.
Yeah.
They're having a great lifting sessions. He's getting them fuel with protein shake, doing just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? But now, like, you just drop him. Like, what do you think was up with that?
Go ahead.
I'm not qualified to answer that question.
Come on, early on. We digging in, man. We digging in right now.
So I know I've always said, like, from the complaints of old before, like, we should have changed this, I'm like, guys, you guys got to remember, we're still a public school in a we're not like any of these mainland schools where they're part of like some, their funding is different.
Yeah.
So that part, I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with the funding, because obviously it's not a paid position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lucrative position.
Yeah, like people in Texas.
Yeah, they're not trying to. They got schools that pay.
They still got to work full time. You know what I mean?
It's exactly it. You wake up, you're just a head coach. That's it. You don't have to go to work. But as far as that, man, that's not because Tavo not. I think Tavo does have an answer. What is the answer that was on your?
Come on, early outs. We digging in. The people are like,
said
these are early outs.
We
bringing it. Let's bring it early outs.
Yo, I don't know.
So there's this
on the outside.
I'm just gonna say this in the shortest way because I don't have too much details. There's an admin collective, a group that actually makes a lot of big calls on Kahuku's movements, which is, again, I don't know if that's organized by the OAA or organized by just Kahuku itself. I don't know how they run. I don't know how they operate. I don't know who they are. But I did hear some names before, but I heard those names only after they left, I guess. So that I'm assuming they have a lot to do with it, because according to what he said, like, we're going to go in a different direction, is what he was told by the admin, right?
Yeah, man, that just doesn't sit. I can understand if he wasn't, doing well in his personal life or whatever. Like, he had it together. You know what I mean? He's doing well, really inspiring some of these kids, because some of these kids went to big time schools. I think, some, a bunch of them went to D1s and whatnot. But it's just crazy to think that a coach like that just comes back and like, yeah, Kessler, thank you for your time. Yeah, bye.
It's funny with topics like these and other topics that...
Because these are the topics that you guys discussed early on.
Yes. So there's topics like this very topic, or you go around, we just did our show, maybe we talked about this, and then maybe in a corner or somewhere, like, Sole, another reason why this happened, and I'm like, can you like, are you willing to come on the air and share that with us? It's like, no.
But see, with all of that, there's a lot.
See, now we're really getting into what early out is about. We got the topic, and let's dig in, guys.
We don't mind saying it, but we don't know it, and they're not going to give us access to the places that.
Right. So there's a lot of emotional answers.
Yes.
And we want to sort out
because emotionally answers is what spews all these comments.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we want to try and come from a factual point. So, because as far as for me, I don't have a factual point behind that, because I was away from the community at that time. But a lot of the emotional, like, where was he after the game? Or where was he, like, I guess he just took off. Yeah, during recruiting. Yeah. Where was he during recruiting? Those kinds of emotional answers. And so I can't speak on it because I wasn't there. Yeah. But those are the kind of emotional answers that we were getting, like, of not maybe why he got let go, but maybe what added to it. So those kinds of things.
You guys had Suwaki on the show too. Like, how was having that? I mean, because he's a legend himself. You know what I mean? So how was that, having that conversation with him? And what is one thing that you guys maybe really took from him? Like, oh shoot, that he shared.
That one was kind of, because we're connected to him.
Yeah, we grew up with Suwaki.
Right. Church Suwaki. And
the family, the
family,
son.
yeah.
I mean, I got to know Suwaki because he coached me in the Samoa Bowl when we played. And,
yeah.
the first Hawaii team that beat Samoa, shout out to that year, baby. Let's go. There's some stuff. Spencer Ofoka, Tyson Alualu. They got some ballers, bro. But yeah, he led us to, that's how I got to know Suwaki. But going back to your guys' connection with him.
Yeah, so we just wanted to go from an angle where how he started off.
Yeah.
And the journey that he became to actually become, the first head coach to win a state championship for Kahuku. And the journey that he took us through was kind of amazing. You know?
Want to touch on maybe some highlights that he talked about?
Man, he coached.
the legendary running backs that he had a piece of. But before he was even a coach, he was just teaching them running back stuff. Like, I think one of the greats, he played for the 84 BYU team, Lake Heimuli. He was going into that, and then he was telling me where they lived close by. He would go and train them, and I was like, what? I was like, dang, because I remember he that was something that he did. He would take us out and go run us and teach us how to play games and like soccer, and we never had no idea how to play soccer, as kids. But like, I knew that was in his repertoire of like just teaching kids how to get out and be physical and stuff. So it was cool to hear the names that he was dropping, and I was like these are like big name running backs that used to play for Kahuku, but ended up like one of them went into NFL. Tim Manoa. He played for the Cleveland Browns.
Hey, since we're on the topic of running backs, your guys' favorite running back of all time, your
favorite. Ooh.
Put you guys on the spot, man. Shoot.
No, that's a good one.
I got you guys.
I was asked.
We asking these questions today.
I was asked this by Chris Ma'afala, but he said Kahuku running backs. I was saying, but all time, any school.
No, just Kahuku.
Oh,
yeah, I'm not. We're gonna put you guys on the spot. The spotlight is bright, man.
We had some good ones too, man.
That's some great ones.
I mean, there's no disrespect because it's hard. Kahuku is a breeding house for amazing great running backs.
We're gonna get skewered for this one. Go ahead.
Well, we will set up your next episode. This is the topic for the next episode.
By the time I started watching Kahuku football was in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Or mid-90s. So I missed the Marco Tuaya.
Yeah.
So I was a big fan of Jason Kittle.
Oh, man.
The way he ran the ball. And mind you, he was only at Kahuku for a year, right? Yeah, and the amount of impact that he had running the ball, you just watch him play, watch him cut, watch him run over people. It was just almost effortless, kind of a deal.
Yeah, that was my answer too. I played with him, I played with Jason, and I remember. So I have a funny story. So he came, he played. He's playing for like Ko'olauloa.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Pop Warner. And then I think like he transferred over to, or when came time for high school, I think he played his first. No, he didn't. He left to Damien, and I remember hearing the stories while we were in JV. Jason is the leading rusher of out of Damien, and I was like, Damien, what? Nah, that's not possible. Then when he came back, and I was just like, cracked the neck. I don't know if you heard about me. I don't know if you heard about the kid. So he comes on the field. He's like checks in, and then they do a play, and there's one inside game. So this is when the no receivers, just for those of you at home listening, it's just the O-line, D-line, linebackers, and the running backs. And so first play, I remember just like dead to right. So there was a handoff. Kolo Funaki drops back, right, and just drops it right in him. I was just like, oh, this is cake. I'm gonna just knock this guy out.
I'm gonna lay him out.
I'm afraid. I'm like full speed running in. Right when I go, he does this freaking Madden move where he steps to the left, jukes me, and I'm like, oh crap, he's moving. I was like, I've seen this in the Matrix. I was just like, oh, he's moving, but I kind of like leaned towards to grab him right there. My man just stiff arm, and I was like, I felt like he was posing for the Heisman Trophy. And then I was like, oh, this is the leading rusher from the ILH.
He's moving, but my leg's not moving.
Wow, I went straight to the ground. Boom! I was looking at him. I was like, and I could hear like defensive coach Byron cracking up, and I was like,
oh man, yeah, you
try that again. One more time. Run it back.
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna give my 2 cents. I mean, I never played for Kahuku, but I've been around. But I mean, I just want to give my 2 cents. I thought like you guys said, in your guys' era, me, Mulivai.
Oh, Mulivai, he's up there. He's definitely up there.
I got to, coach during the same time Alfonga Wiley was playing. For me, Alfonga was like a workhorse.
Oh, yeah.
Keep feeding him, and he just was and he'll break it,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But from just an electrifying like standpoint of watching somebody just like, damn, you know, I remember just a play where 2 guys were coming in. He just
split them.
Yeah,
and just gone.
and just one of those. But I was just like, damn, man, like he was probably one of the most, electrifying. It sounds like WWE, but electrifying, running backs. But okay, we talked about running backs.
Yeah.
Favorite all-time Kahuku coach.
Oh, coach. Man, they're all different,
And you could give a why. You can explain a little bit why maybe this coach was, instrumental to the program, the community.
Actually, not necessarily a head coach is the favorite coach.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of focus maybe on the head coach.
Head coach. I'm thinking head coach, and I know I'm going to get a lot of we're
setting up the next episode for early outs. Because when people say, "Oh, that's what you guys felt," okay, let's talk about it. Now we're going to talk.
No, I actually one of my favorite championship teams was Fai's first year. Because I went in just thinking like, what the heck is this? I'm used to seeing our even man. Well, then again, Coach Kimo actually used to run a small but that 2015 team, I was just like, I'm not making sense of this, especially because of all the, he brought in a lot of change.
Yeah.
And I
culture shock, right?
Yeah, I asked him about it. I was like, man, is it true that you came in with like the 53-man roster, which is the NFL roster, right? And he was just like, all of it was like, yep. And I was like, because he said it, he said, we didn't need space for the guys to just come on and cheer. He wanted the guys to just
carry their weight.
All killers.
Exactly.
And I was like, but yeah, I really like the way he executed, like the way he left it. Especially Tua was hot that year. Tua was freaking. He just took out that team, which I think got them nationally ranked. I think was it Narbonne, one of the at the beginning of the year, and I think he's still kind of fighting for his position because he was still a junior, right? And then after that, Tua was on fire the whole season. And then our team came up, and I was just like, man, I have no clue if we can contain this. And everything, even to the players, even to Gilman. It was Gilman was playing that year, right? Alohi was playing. Man, there's so many, and just the talent on that roster. So yeah, he made me a believer after that.
Brad and I too.
Bradley and I was on that roster. A lot of
Kaniho.
Yeah, a lot of D1s in that defense, man. Even that offense, Imahi too. Yeah, that was.
And we're missing out a bunch. I know that there's that team
players,
was Santiago was on that team too.
Yeah,
right?
Gallo
Boy. What about you?
That's who my
man. I would have loved to play for Coach Doug Simone's in the 90s.
He was probably the first coach I think I started seeing when I started watching football.
Yeah, he just the way, guy from the mainland, Haole guy from the mainland coming in and just making an immediate change. And then I think
I never knew he was from the mainland.
Yeah, he's from California.
So how was his tie to Kogu?
Oh, that was crazy. We got that from Coach Chiwaki.
See, we dropping gems today, man.
Coach Chiwaki said it was Vaisika Hema's fullback. Coach Chiwaki is close with Vaisika Hema. So he said that, I guess when he came on vacation with his wife, right? with Linda, Coach Simone's wife. And he said, man, he just loved here. He go Pro Bowl. They came for a Pro Bowl. And he just was like, man, how can I stay here? He asked Vaisika Hema. Vaisika Hema called Chiwaki and then calls were made. That's what we were told. And I was like, man. So that's a crazy, way to get here.
I mean, just the way, like I saw, he even came and talked to us when we were incoming freshmen. He came and talked to a lot of us that wanted to play football for Kahuku. And he gave us this speech. I mean, I can't remember what he said, but I just can remember just like, frick, I like to play for that guy. You know what I mean?
Got you ready to go.
Yeah. And so, but then, freshman year and then sophomore, he ended up taking the job at UH.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's
he
right.
left Kahuku and took the job at UH as a special teams coach, I believe.
Was that with Coach Jones?
Von Oppen.
Oh, Von Oppen. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
So, that's who I wish I would have played for.
And I'm going to add my 2 cents in because nobody asked.
No.
For me, and I'm biased too because I coached under him, but mine's is Reggie Torres.
That was kind of one.
And I'm gonna say this. I have a lot of just gratitude for Reggie because I learned a lot. He was my first high school coach I actually coached under. Right? Shout out to DJ because DJ was the one that actually set it up for me to come on to Kahuku. I'm gonna share this funny story though. So I knew Hangman, right? Growing, like
Yeah.
just seeing him in the community. And if you guys don't know Fatu Fiso, he's just
Oh, yeah.
in his time,
Yeah,
bro.
massive.
So I remember during that time, like it was off-season workout, so I was kind of just helping out, right? When I first started jumping, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, and I still remember he had this Ram truck, this black Ram
Oh, yeah,
truck,
yeah.
and he pulled it out, and this guy like saw that. I was like, oh, I better go hide behind the bleacher. But man, like shout out to Fatu because I got to coach along with him that year. But the reason I want to shout out, Reggie is because I got to firsthand see a coach hold players to accountability.
Yeah.
Meaning this, I've seen him sit or bench the most talented kid because he didn't come to the workouts throughout the week. He wasn't doing his part in school or whatever,
Yep.
right? And start a kid who wasn't as talented, but did everything that he was supposed to do.
Yep.
Well, what did that show me? That showed me that he always said, if I can't count on you Monday through Thursday, and come Friday night when we're in the fourth quarter, it's a 2-minute drive and we need everybody to execute, how can I count on you? You can't even come to practice on time. Yep. The day after game, Saturday, if we played Friday night, Saturday, the kids would be back up working out first thing, 8 o'clock. Some kids wouldn't show up. So he's like, well, everybody worked together the night before,
Yep.
but the next day you can't come and grind with everybody else. So for me, on a level of accountability, man, like that always stood out to me. So I just wanted to give him his flowers. I'll always be grateful for that because he taught me a lot of stuff in the coaching game that I've always took, right? Yep. Because we come across nowadays that there's so many talented kids, and sometimes I feel like the environment that we are in coaching or just like in teams, we always want the best player to play.
Yeah.
But truly, that player, when he's checked out or he don't want to give anymore, he's going to take the play off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that highlighted that, man. But yeah, that was pretty, put you guys on the spot.
No, I like that. His name actually came to mind first because I was like, but then I thought because I like the meticulous coaching, which again, Reggie wasn't not meticulous. It was if I came up and I was like, man, that's a tough question.
Yeah, so when you guys are on early outs,
Yeah.
do you guys? How is it? I mean, the fire for the coaches is on a different level. So let's dig into that because how do you guys address that? Because are you guys in agreement with what the coaches do? Are you guys supporting them? Or are you guys trying to I'm trying to give the audience, the village family watching, like, man, early outs. Well, what are they? Are they for the coaches or are they just trying to just bring clarification?
So I know okay. First of all, to speak on some kind of platform that we can speak on. Tavo did help coach Hawaiian and I back in the day, kind of same time when me and Solo was out at. So we do have some experience with coaching high school, like yourself.
Yeah,
I didn't leave you out on that one.
No, thanks, dog.
Yeah. But like I think some of it goes to like where we use our conventional thinking and we're like, okay, control, do the things that need to be done. Manage the 3 phases of the game, and then when things happen that we're like, wait, what? Like, what just happened? And it's like, okay, maybe that's just a fluke.
Try to give us an example.
Shoot, there was so many.
Like, why are we passing
games?
Oh, true. Yeah. The offense, right? Talk about it.
Yeah, like so that was one thing we were like, wait, how's plays being delivered? Then we start, but luckily we have a circle of friends, and I think you're part of that circle as well, who still has some friends back in Kahuku coaching, and you're like, why is it taking so long to get the play out to the team? And it's like, oh, because the kid has to run all the way back, run all the to the sideline or to the hash, wherever, run back and then deliver the play. And I was like, man, they used to just send the receiver in with the play, and then I don't know what happened then, or if it's. So we're trying to figure out as we go.
So that's like pretty much like your guys' platform is really just like, hey, these are the questions that people have.
Yes.
And now it's like, well, we'll get the answers for you guys.
We'll be the representation for it. It's like, hey.
So like when a team, and obviously you guys are dealing with Kahuku because you guys are alumni, you're in the community and whatnot. So like when you guys have situations like, man, why do you guys keep passing the ball when we should be running the ball? Yeah. Subjects like that, right?
Yeah.
What is some of the feedback you guys get, or you guys try and break it down from like a coach's standpoint for the audience, or how do you guys go about that?
We all have different roles on the show. Like I think like Warner, he tends to be everybody call. They start labeling him as the devil's advocate. Like he'll just be like, because he sides with the coaches a lot.
Yeah.
He has relationships with them.
So not everybody is from the coaches. Like you guys literally bring different aspects.
Like we'll attack the coaches and be like, no, that didn't make sense. Why run that play? Why run this series of plays? And you could clearly clear the ball here, do this. And Warner will be like, no, so it's this, this reason. So it was kind of good conversation, good back and forth. So that way, so I represent those guys who are questioning, but Warner will represent those guys who are, kind of a defensive thing.
Like a pro-con.
Yeah, pro-con kind of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, it yeah, I don't know. It was nice. What you thinking?
Oh, we just, as much as we complain about the coaching or how they coach, or we do appreciate the time that they put in.
For sure.
That is unquestionable.
Kahuku is a 7-day-a-week coaching job
bro.
with no pay.
Yeah,
So let's put that on the stuff,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of coaches like that, but especially Kahuku, because, to be a high-level program like that, you ain't just doing it 2 or 3 days a week, you know what I mean?
And so EC brought up the, like, hey, if we're going to keep complaining we got to come up with a solution. Yeah. And so an opportunity arose that I went and helped out with the Laie Park Big Boys.
Yeah.
To help coach their O-line. And I know this past season a lot of the sore topic was about our O-line. Yeah. And so it's, instead of complaining, find a way to be part of the solution, whatever way that is, so that we could stop complaining a lot. A lot of it was even like we brought up the crowd participation, how it was dead. Our way of stop complaining about the crowd was like, hey, EC, me and you, we're going to be involved.
Yeah.
We're going to help hype up the crowd in whatever way that looked like.
Do we get an example of that?
Hey, you requested it last time.
Thanks for doing it on the spot. Shout out to Johnny Leotawa too, man. I see him just
was out there. Man. In his
that.
Nacho Libre underwear. But he was getting people, riled up, which is good. So I think that's one good thing about it. We know it's there.
Yeah.
We know the potential is there. Everybody, it's just we had to, I feel like what our job was shaking the tree. Hey, get out of your fields, freaking the kids need our support. Let's go and cheer, do what we can. This is all we can do. We don't have control over the plays. We don't have control over the elements. We don't have control over the refs. But those are the complaints coming out, and it's like, stop complaining about the ref and just cheer. Imagine if the kids just hear you, like they're gonna feel pumped up. Right? I mean, you remember the feeling of just hearing the crowd behind you. It's like,
especially a crowd like that. I mean, it is always packed. You know, I mean, Kahuku always brings a crowd. But you guys touched upon it though. I mean, this podcast or this platform is built on inspiration, elevation, empowerment. What I like is that you guys are figuring out ways, hey, how can we contribute to a problem, right? Yeah. So you guys firsthand go, if the crowd is dead, we're going to cheer. You know what I mean? You guys lead. You guys literally get up, lead. If there's, questions that need to be answered, you guys are literally asking the hard questions. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's why I do enjoy what you guys are doing, because this is an inspiration. The early owls can be taken to another community, and they do it in their own style. Yeah. So you guys, for me, I mean, I don't really see it too much in other communities, but you guys are like a trendsetter where it's like, hey, shoot, maybe a community from Waianae or St. Louis is going to have their own thing or whatever, but it's like, hey, why not? Right? Yeah. You guys are doing it, and you guys are doing it at such a good level. And also, too, is like you guys started at humble beginnings. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Go from Hola Beach Park, can't even hear, and now, like, I mean, I've seen, like, you guys get thousands of views, and you guys are bringing in some pretty mean guests, man.
So I'm walking in here, I'm like, oh,
hey, right? Like, we want big early owls over here, but
the potential this could have.
Right? But, I mean, that's what it's about. Like, man, it's about all of us building each other up in the big ways we can, you know what I mean? And I love it, man. So, do you guys have any, you guys got any, like, maybe upcoming guests that you guys are looking forward to? Or you guys, what's the plan for early owls right now? Because we're not in football season.
Yeah, you go. So, you want to start with the guests, or you want to do with the
camp?
Oh yeah, you can talk about the camp.
Yeah.
So,
what you guys got going on with this?
So,
look at that camera. Tell everybody what you guys got going on early owls.
Attempt to fix things that we feel like rather than complain. Like,
this is your guys' time now, fellas. Bring the information to the community.
So rather than complain, like what Rocky just segued off of, rather than complain about like some of the special teams play was kind of like sketchy, but again, not to question. Instead of complaining about their coach, we thought, hey, why don't we do something about it? So we created a little small clinic, just like a day camp, where we're inviting, like, Kahuku was privileged to have Hala, Muangu Tutia.
He's a number one
long snapper in the nation. And so with some brainstorming, we all came up with, man, because we were thinking, like, give back, like, let's just create something for everybody to come and play, but also to familiarize everybody with stuff that, if we feel it may be shortcomings, but at the same time, we decided to just do special teams because they know what, let's just start small. Focus on, using the person that is at our school right now. He's a student. He's loving student life. We had him on an interview, and like it's crazy. He got he got a UCLA scholarship from that. So again, this is just one of the things that we wanted to do to kind of like show that, hey, we're done with complaining. We're gonna do what we can as fans, even if it's just us as a little podcast, just to start pushing some initiative to the school and pushing some effort to the school in a way that we can, not through OIA standards, through our own,
Yeah. Stay true to yourselves and your guys' right? What you guys have specific dates, like when it's gonna happen?
We have a date. So
February 15th. We locked down February 15th at Lightyear Park.
Yeah, Lightyear Park right now, but I mean, I think it's tentative, the location. I was gonna release it on the 1st.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But we were able to lock down, and we're grateful. We were able to get Chad Owens to come help us out.
Teach some
kids how to punt returns.
Oh, nice.
And just so just to give the kids another option, because there's O-line, D-line camps, quarterback camps. I don't think there's ever been like a special teams camp in the community where a kid can learn how to long snap.
Yeah.
Where a kid can learn how to kick or punt, or just give them like just the beginnings of how to do it.
Yeah.
You guys create an opportunity because the long snapper Kahuku just got a scholarship to UCLA.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about small school. That's in the, an established institute. And you guys are creating, a place where, like you said, hey, maybe a lot of people don't think that this position or thing, but to get a scholarship, I mean, you got school taken care of.
You don't have to have big size to be a long snapper or a kicker or a punter. You just gotta, whatever. It's kind of like golfing. You just perfect the craft, So it's for those kids that aren't that big, or aren't that fast. These are avenues for you to get a scholarship if you want to play at that next level,
Nice.
And if you look at the rosters at the NFL, these guys last years in the league, years. And so, just another way for us to give back to the community, for the kids to learn another craft and to get better at something else.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I mean, like I said, I truly feel, inspired myself. Like, you guys are really taking ownership of problems, or maybe there's gaps that you guys see, and you guys are bridging those gaps. You know what I mean? Like, for the community and just giving people awareness, right? What about your guys' guests? What you guys, are like this off season, right? We're in off season right now. What you guys got going on?
We're currently in the talks. So I think as far as like the future, like the interviews. We did, so one of the OGs I know and he's been like a freaking mainstay in the community. He's been helping everybody with every single project. Uncle Junior.
Yeah, for sure.
I just got off the phone with one of the sons, and I told him, we're planning, I want to, mostly because not only just for us to interview one of the legendary Red Raiders, Junior IU, but it's mostly to document. Like a lot of this stuff is going to stay on, and these companies, on social media and digital media for years to come, right?
Yeah.
And I think for, his posterity or his kids, his grandkids, great-grandkids, in the future, they get to listen to him just talk about, football, how he started.
Yeah.
And, I feel like that kind of stuff, leaving that legacy kind of like helps perpetuate the legacy for the future for Kahuku football, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think but doing so in a way that I think if we could create this little momentum, I can see us doing it to the point where we're doing stuff for every school in the state,
Yeah.
Like, at first it was just like, this is just too Kahuku, but I was like, man, like, so we have another project that's coming up that Tavo's going to spearhead. It's, after we took this trip to Washington State to go visit Coach Mark, there's a lot of kids that just graduated from Kahuku. They're going to schools in the mainland. And Tavo's moving to the mainland. We're thinking, bruh. He was like, I like doing, he said, you remember Homegrown Report?
Yeah. What are they doing now?
What are they doing now?
Yeah.
So basically, I was like, he said something along those lines, and I said, "Bruh, let's put some freaking fuel behind that, push it, because you're being the mainland. The flights between are cheaper. By the way, Hawaiian Airlines, we'll be coming for you guys for some sponsorship.
Love that sponsorship. Alaska Airlines, though.
Alaska. We'll want to get some coverage of some of the boys, and then once Tavo brought that idea, I was like, why stop at Kahuku athletes? We got athletes all over regardless if they have ties to Kahuku, like we can. I did change the logo to something else. We had the Red Raider logo, and I was like, nah, we're like Deadpool, but he's wearing a Red Raider Indian logo.
Hey, before I forget this, since we're on this subject right now, I love what you just said. It's about, why stop at this?
Yeah.
When you guys started with early odds, I'm pretty sure that it was probably something that you guys thought was just like something so small.
It was just to add on. Yeah.
How did this confidence in you guys grow? Or now where you start thinking like, hey, big levels. Hey, shout out to Alaska Airlines. You never know what might happen. Hey, it might be Mokulele Airlines, but we'll give you guys first trip. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's about. It's like, how do we get, our people, our communities, Polynesians or anybody to stop thinking small-minded and let's go. We take you out of the North Shore community, take it on a state level, multiple states, utilizing the resources you already have, and that's what it's about. It's about resources, right? Like, hey, you're gonna be in the mainland. We start this chapter up there, whatever. Like, how does that confidence in you guys? How has that built? And where did you guys get that like switch? Where like, hey, we're not small game no more. We're gonna go for the big leagues.
That's a damn good question there, Rock.
Put you guys on the spot, man. The people want to know, and this is what we're here for, man. Because that's gonna inspire the next one that starts with, my thing is too small.
Yeah.
I don't have enough support. You guys started off streaming live on stuff, and to see where you guys might be in next year, the year after that. You pull up this file and be like, oh, so remember we were just talking about it? Now it became reality, right? So that's what the goal is, man.
Yeah, so not to be like rude in any way for those of you watching, I'm going to say this the way I'm going to say this. So like Rock said, my stuff's too small, Sometimes you just got to walk around. You just got to walk around like you're a big one. Yeah. You just walk around like you're a big one. Nobody gonna question you. Just be like, solid. Look, bah.
That's the early outs right there.
That's early outs,
the early outside. No, this whole time these guys trying to be filtered,
right there, baby.
You're trying to be filtered.
No, you got it. And then the whole time I said no dirty words, guys. I said no vulgar or profanity. I said just walk around like you have a big one.
It took these guys 2 hours to finally just bring it. That's what I was waiting for. That's the one.
So,
Gosh.
Again, keep that in mind, everybody. Whether you have a big one, a small one, walk like you get one, huge one.
Gotta own it, man.
Alaska Airlines.
You get room?
Oh, man. About time you guys loosen up. Just own it, man. Own it. We wish you had it. Just pretend like you have it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
pretend like you have it. You got it.
Like they said, you gotta fake it till you make it. You may not get it. Just fake it.
Yes, 100%.
Just so you know, I saw that coming, guys. If you heard a grunt right before that came out, I first saw that.
We're gonna have to start the episode with that one liner right there. Then we go straight to sponsorship ask.
Bro, that's a clip. That's a reel right there, bro. That's a reel.
I love it, man. I love it.
We're excited, Rock. We're excited for the future, to what we got in store, what we got planned ahead.
Yeah.
And we're excited just to hey, Rock. I mean, flowers to you, man. We're grateful for this platform that you've given us to not only us. I mean, we've seen the guests that you've had to be able to share their stories, their struggles, and where they started from, and the progress that they've had. And we're grateful for you and for Jordan in the background for giving us this area where we can push forward and progress. And
I appreciate that.
Keep going, keep moving forward.
I mean, one thing that for me, I believe it, man. We all, we live in, today's world where everybody's, worried about their own success, right? Oh, how far can I go? How many views can I get? Yeah. To me, I focus it on like this. We can build each other up, the success will come. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. If we truly put our heart out there and like seeing other people be successful and see them grow, like you guys are the boys, but I know that you guys got something. I want to see you guys level up. You know what I mean? I want to see you guys do something in here on a bigger stuff. Because for me, I look back, I just feel good at that. You know what I mean? Because I see like, hey, that's inspiring the next people that maybe that's not my crowd, but they're inspiring them. You know what I mean? Like there's never, I don't believe that we should be put in limitations. That's why I said, man, I'm glad that you guys spoke on that. Like, hey, we started off with this little thing, sky's the limit, man.
Yeah. Well, just going along that, Rock, we as early outs, we kind of want to help out the younger generation. Yeah. Whether it's putting on a clinic for Hala or, I don't know, just highlighting kids when they're out there, just whether it's financially or social media wise, just uplifting the next generation to come, and and we've seen it somewhat when we walked. What playoff game did we go to? We walked. It was at Farrington.
Yeah.
And me and this guy walked in.
Uh-huh.
The kids were like, "Hey, it's the early outs."
Oh,
And we're like, "What the heck?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that kind of.
Yeah.
it's shocking, but it feels good.
Yeah,
though, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
It does. It does. But it's that kind of reach we want to help out with the kids with. Give them a. We were at whatever stage of lives that we were given a hand at some point or the other.
100%, man.
And all we want to do is be that hand for the next person coming up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I'm grateful that we're able to, collab in this form so that we can continue to uplifting our younger generations.
Yeah, and you already know that, we help you guys with the camp, what you guys need and whatever. We'll brainstorm on that, on how to help that. Any other, big things? I know you guys are going to start the chapter, when you move to Utah. But maybe something on a personal level that you guys are working on or anything?
I did, and I gave a challenge to these guys because I think so. The singer who went through his heart thing, it was like maybe right at the end of the championship. I think we were just kind of dead time.
Yeah,
and I just challenged him to say, you know what, it'd be nice. And again, more for documentation purposes or for just.
That's one thing Singer's good about. He always says document everything.
Yeah,
which is true.
And then it was funny because he was saying that before his thing happened. So, I challenged my hosts, the co-hosts, to just, hey, get on there, go on your personal account and share. And I don't mean to share because you're going to get famous and rich. Share because you have family.
Yeah.
And it'd be cool for them to just look at you in the future.
Yeah.
And be, as they're growing up and it's like, oh, that's Grandpa Tavo.
Yeah.
That's how, I seen his videos.
Mm-hmm.
He was skinny back in the days,
From defensive back to offensive line. Hey, let's say we all were,
Yeah, right.
Hey, we gotta sidetrack to that though. Tavo, tell us about that. The journey from defensive back to offensive line. Because hey, we took a U-turn. We got some time. Hey, we got some time. Let's talk about it. This is the
Tell
true.
them what you called it on the show.
So if you're wondering why we're laughing right now, it's because Tavo, this guy right here, started off as a defensive back. Usually defensive backs in high school about 185, maybe 205, 200. And then you go on your mission, right?
So, yeah.
So I don't want to explain it. You explain it. And then you come back and then he's the offensive lineman.
So I was, my senior year, 6'3", 190. I had the wonderful opportunity to go play for the University of Utah. But prior to that, they offered me and 3 other guys a scholarship. There's 4 of us. So I told them I wanted to go on my 2-year Mormon mission or LDS mission. So I went 190, and I came back 290.
100 pounds.
That's a whole 6th grader.
So how does 100 pounds get?
You know what's crazy though?
It must have. It meant you was taken care of on your mission.
I was, but then my first 11 months, I was on a bike. I was biking everywhere.
Oh, for real?
But then,
sorry, go ahead.
But there was a Polynesian elder that was there. But so
I think you say Polynesian store. I stopped there on my bike every day.
There was
it's like stopping there for Uncle Junior's spot and grabbing
Power,
cocoa rice and bread every day.
there was a Masas in Arizona.
Oh man.
No, so there was so prior to me, there was a Polynesian elder that would eat everything. But when I came up and they were like, oh, this, and mind you, the Hispanic people, they're very religious people.
Mm.
They love to feed. Kind of like Polys too,
Yeah.
And the missionaries come around, they love to feed. The Hispanics are the same way. And so they just kept feeding me. And then when I came back home, I went straight to the football office, and I'm heading to Coach Ron McBride's office. He's the one who recruited
Coach McBride.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Mac. So we actually pass each other in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stops and he turns back and he goes, Tavo? I go, yeah, what's up, Coach Mac? He goes, man, when you left like this. Now when you're back, you're like this. I was like, hey, love you too, Coach Mac. But then I was supposed to transition into D-line.
Oh, okay.
D-line player, or defensive player. And the person who rerouted that was Coach Alex Gerke.
Oh, Coach Gerke came coaching us at UH too. Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to Coach Gerke. He's right when he saw me, the same day he saw me, he's like, "Hey, follow me." So we went, and he made me do 3 kick steps
Yeah.
from a left tackle stance. Right after I did my 3 kick steps, he's like, You're not going anywhere. You're playing O-line for me." And back then, you just
whatever.
you just do what you're told, and
but it got you where it gets you.
So Gerke actually at that time, Jordan Gross was his number 1 left tackle. He actually got drafted the first round to the Panthers. Yeah, number 8th pick, I think. And I was his 3rd string. But it was just great to learn from him. Great to what a technician what he was, and for me to look up to at that time. But still, I had no intention of either playing, starting, or whatever, until when Urban Meyer came in, and that O-line coach pulled me aside. He was like, "Dude, I've seen your footwork. You have the ability to play on Sundays." And that was when he told me that, I had no clue what he was talking about, and 2, that I had that opportunity or ability to take it to that next level. So then when Urban Meyer came, I walked around like I had one big one.
Owned it.
Yeah, you.
100-pound big one. Yes, sir. Man, fellas, I enjoyed the conversation today. You guys want to add in anything else? It's time to talk about it.
Shout out to Hawaii football. UH all the way down to the freaking big boys of all. And Pop Warner leagues everywhere. Shout out for football in Hawaii, man. Love it. Makes the world go round in my eyes.
Yeah.
Now that the season is over, it's back to Hawaii football. Those of you guys are going out to these camps, these pylons. Man, go out there and represent Hawaii.
Yep.
Yeah. I know we're during the season we're all, to our own whatever high school football teams, but now that that's over, go represent the 808, man. Go get yours.
Yeah.
Go represent 808. So
that's a good point, man, because we cheer hard for our team, right?
Yeah.
Our high school team. But when a team from Hawaii goes and plays somewhere, it's Hawaii versus everybody, man. So I love that sentiment that you touched on. But man, hey, Village fams, I want to thank these guys, Early Outs. If you guys haven't followed them or seen any of their stuff, tell them where the family can find you.
We're streaming on Facebook, so the Early Outs. Just subscribe, and then you'll see some of our videos, some of the hilarity that ensues. But
what is that word from earlier? Feng shui.
Feng shui.
No, but if you guys haven't tuned in, go and support the Early Outs. Go subscribe. Check them out on Facebook. I appreciate the time, man. And like I said, the Village podcast is about inspiration, elevation, and empowerment. And I hope that what you've seen in today's episode inspires you guys to go out and just follow that dream or follow that passion that you have, even though it may seem small. Like E said, man, if you have it, fake it, own it. Like you got the 100-pound big one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you.
But it's true. But it's true, man, because you never know how much you guys can affect on a positive level the next generation coming up. What your idea may seem small, you never know what it can blossom to. And these guys are on their way to, and especially shout out to Warner and Senga, man. The team of Early Outs, because you never know how far they will go. But I'm glad that we got to document, like Senga said, document this, because you look back and be like, man, everybody had humble beginnings, but you stay with it, keep the team tight. You never know how far you guys can go. But that brings us from today's episode with the Early Outs. Appreciate you, Village fams. Tune in. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go.
Fire.
There we go.